Just the facts, ma'am. Why are you here? I'll tell you why you're here. You want to know the best movies that you have to see before you die.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
And since I am a connoisseur of fine art, I am here to help you. They call me Bravo Von Mueller. And the movie we're going to be talking about today is Apocalypse Now. And as I've told you before, if I am reviewing a movie, well, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's a good one. And feel free to go watch it. Apocalypse Now, a 1979 epic Vietnam War movie. Quite frankly, the best movie ever produced about the Vietnam War. It was directed, produced, and co-written by Francis Ford Coppola. And the movie starts out with Captain Benjamin Willard, played by Martin Sheen, locked in his hotel room in Saigon, waiting for his next mission, drinking and torturing himself because he is an assassin. He has killed many people, but his next job is going to really torment him. Here he meets the three-star general, a CIA man, and as you can see, Harrison Ford. These men take no pleasure in what they're about ready to do. The assignment that they hope Captain Willard will accept is to terminate one of their own. The target is Colonel Walter Kurtz. That would be the Marlon Brando character. He's one of them. He is a colonel that has gone rogue. He's one off the reservation, and as I said, they take no pleasure in what they have to do. The CIA man only has one line, and that line is to terminate with extreme prejudice. Captain Willard accepts the job because what else was he going to do? He is a soldier. And so the journey begins, but getting to Colonel Kurt's Cambodian jungle compound will not be easy. He decides to take a Navy riverboat up the Nung River. He's going to travel up the dangerous delta, and getting to his destination will be the hard part. This journey will hold many surprises. Many of the co-stars did not make it. He has a dossier to read. On his way up the river, he will read the dossier on Colonel Kurtz. As he studies his mission, he will come to respect the colonel. But before he gets to his destination, he will run into many interesting people. Here we have Francis Ford Coppola making a cameo. He's doing some filming of the Vietnam War, and he tells them, "Hurry up, get by, just act like the cameras are not even here." But then they run into Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore, and of course he is one of the stars that steals the show. He is a colonel who likes to surf, and as he says, "Charlie don't surf." Robert Duvall, he puts in quite a performance as Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore. He's gung-ho. He's all military. He really takes care of his men, and his men respect him. And he's a willing participant in getting Captain Benjamin Willard to his destination, mainly because he's going to run into some good waves, surfing waves. Like I said, getting there is going to be half the battle. And I would like to know how much they spent on the helicopters, because it was very impressive. Second to none footage of Vietnam-era helicopters. And do you recognize this uncredited actor, R. Lee Ermey? He just passed away last year, boot camp instructor. He was a helicopter pilot, as I said, uncredited. So they're heading into Charlie territory. It's going to get hairy, but there they are, the helicopters coming in full blast. Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore is going to kill two birds with one stone. Not only is he going to take Charlie out, but he's going to do some surfing. Quite a spectacle indeed. The battle footage is impressive, and Colonel Kilgore even has Wagner music blasting out of the Hueys as he comes in full speed ahead. They drop off the Navy boat that's taking Captain Willard up the river delta. They splash it down upstream, and then they call in the Air Force pilots to blast the tree lines with napalm. And then comes the famous scene where Robert Duvall says he loves the smell of napalm in the morning. He truly did steal the show, did he not? So then they keep on heading up the river delta. They run into a USO show. That was a very interesting scene. All the soldiers were excited to see the playmates. Yes, the playmates were there to entertain the troops. So then you have the MC out there. He's building up the excitement. The troops are ready. And of course, Captain Benjamin Willard, his crew had to stop there to get gas, but they also got to see the show. And here I think you had Miss August and September, and there was quite a few of them. And the soldiers, well, they don't really get to see this very often, so they were about ready to go crazy, and they stormed the stage. You know, they just wanted a hug and a kiss, get up close. But then the MC got them on the helicopter and got them out of there. But why is this movie so great? Because it's realistic. The soldiers over there did a lot of drinking and drugs and partying. It was hell over there in many places, but it was a very realistic movie of Vietnam. Here, as they're trying to get the playmates out of there, the soldiers are even hanging on to the helicopter. It's just crazy. The whole movie catches the craziness and the insane time it was. So then the Navy boat keeps on heading up the delta. They run into problems. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Yes, they run into a tiger. They went into the jungle to look for some fruit, ran into a tiger, and of course they lost a couple crew members along the way to Viet Cong soldiers along the riverbanks. Now, before they get to their destination, they pass one last military outpost. It's the last one, and it is hell on earth. Every soldier there wants out, and they don't even have a commanding officer. They stop there. Captain Benjamin Willard stops there for fuel and picks up his last-minute orders from command, and this is where he finds out that he's not the first assassin they sent in to take out the colonel, that the first officer they sent in failed to get the job done, and he ended up converting over to be a disciple of Colonel Kurtz. So then they arrive. This is the Cambodian jungle compound of Colonel Walter Kurtz. It's quite a scary scene. And then there's Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is a photojournalist, and he's there to document the whole mess. He's also a disciple of Colonel Kurtz. And as you can see, it's quite a mess. Bodies and heads everywhere. And you got to imagine, you have to realize that all these people there, the disciples, the warriors, the soldiers, they all worship Marlon Brando almost as a god. Now, Marlon Brando has allowed Captain Willard to survive. He locks him up in a bamboo cage. He reads him stories. They communicate for a few days. But you soon realize that the Marlon Brando character is tortured. He's a lost soul, and he's almost given up. He realized that the game is almost over, and he allows the assassination to go on because he could have taken out Captain Willard at any time. So he allows the play to play out, but he has one request. All he asks of Captain Willard is that somebody goes back to his home and tell his son what he did there. He does not want his son to be lied to, and there lies the moral of the whole story. Colonel Kurtz has come to realize that the whole war is a lie, and he has come to despise the lie. So the colonel will participate in the kabuki theater of his assassination, and all he asks in return is that the captain goes home and tells his son the truth. of what really happened there. That's all we ask. And then we have Captain Willard paint himself up in his war dress, gets himself all muddy, gets into character, and he slips up to the compound of Colonel Kurtz, and he assassinates him. We see here him slip off the boat and into the muddy waters of the Delta River, and he's prepared to do his job. He has come to terms with this, mostly because of his communications with the colonel. For the last 2 days, he has come to realize that this must be done, and the colonel is okay with it. And in this final act, the colonel's people, the warriors and disciples, are sacrificing a big water buffalo. At the same time, the big man is to be assassinated. It's almost like a festival. Here, Marlon Brando acts surprised, but he's not really surprised, because he knows as they are taking down the water buffalo that the big man has to go. Out of death comes life. His final words are the horror of it all. And when you kill a god, you become a god. And that's how the captain gets out of there. All of Colonel Kurtz's disciples kneel down because they are witnessing the assassin who took out their god. Only one crew member is left, and that was the surfing boy from California. I think his name was Lance. So Captain Willard grabs Lance, and on to the Navy boat they go, and they make their escape. Quite a masterpiece indeed. Are they ever going to make good movies like this again? I doubt it. And that's why we're going to give this movie a 9.5 Bravos. It cost $31 million to make this flick, and it brought in $150 million at the box office.